Hi guys, Rudy here, and this is my walkthrough for Challenge Rift 151, which is a Wizard Challenge Rift. I'm going to cover EU side first and NA side afterwards. But for both setups, there are a few things you should know to make them run as smooth as possible. So let's start with EU here. It's a DMO Frozen Orb build, and the way this works is, first of all, you press your buff, which is the Storm Armor that gives you the Halo of Carini effect for 80% damage reduction. So just do it once at the start and you're fine. And then you have the slow time. You need to put a slow time on top of the enemies to deal any damage to them. Because if the enemies are not inside of the slow time or have been affected by it recently, there's like a 5-second window, they will not take any damage from your set. So you try to look for the decently sized monster packs, pop the slow time on top of them, and then you use a Frozen Orb to one-shot them. Frozen Orb has enough damage to essentially kill everything in one hit, and maybe on your elites you have to cast it 2 or 3 times or so, and that's about it. So just make sure you don't waste your resource too much when the slow time is not up, and then you're fine. You can reset the slow time cooldown by using your magic missile or your explosive blast. So you usually need 3 casts to reset the slow time. So essentially do slow time, Frozen Orb, and then you do like 2 or 3 like generator casts or explosive blast, and then you have slow time ready again. And you just keep walking at all times. It's a rather slow build, you have no teleport, and you have to go really far. Most of the progress is located in floor 4, and this is where you want to get. So essentially just try to skip through those caves and the keep depths and go to floor 4 right away. And yeah, don't waste your time, on very small pulls. So when there's like, single enemies, just ignore them, run past them. You're tanky enough and you have illusory boots, so there shouldn't be a big issue. As long as you have the Halo of Carini up, which should be up at all times, you're good. And yeah, that's about it. The gameplay is rather simple, but it's a very slow build, and yeah, you have to make sure you don't waste your slow time cast too much. For the path you want to take, it's a cave at first. You want to go down, then you have the keep nets. You want to go to the top left and top right, and then you have a cave again where you go down, and then you enter the festering woods, which is pretty juicy, and you should be easily finishing on that floor. So you just progress through the woods, go for the big monster packs, click the planets on the way, and that's about it. So it's rather simple, it's rather tanky, but yeah, a little bit slow. So for the NA side, the setup is a little bit tricky. It's a Vios Archon build, and it's a little bit scuffed. So it doesn't have the Shantodos, which means that you have to kill everything yourself with your own attack damage and your Archon Blast ability, the number 1 when you're in Archon form. And yeah, it's rather weak and rather squishy outside of Archon as well. And it doesn't really have a lot of cooldown. So this is an extremely unoptimized setup, and you have to be a little bit careful when playing this. So there's one good thing about this, and this is Messerschmitt's Reaver in the cube, which resets your cooldown while you kill things. And this means you can actually get permanent Archon by just killing enough stuff while in Archon. So you want to reach something like around 110 to 120 Archon stacks every time. So you can watch your buff bar a little bit and see if you need to speed up your killing a bit. Maybe you're wasting too much time on like single enemies and so on. And yeah, if you reach around that number, you can just go into Archon again immediately. So it's basically the same story here. You start with pressing your buffs, the magic weapon and the storm armor. This gives you defense. And then you go into Archon immediately. And then you hunt the big monster packs and the elites. And just make sure you don't waste your time too much running around. And while in Archon, you can spam the number 1 button every time. So it's a little bit annoying, but this is how the build works. And here's actually a significant portion of your DPS. So you wanna do that at least while you're like teleporting into density. You can use the left click or the right click to deal damage. It's rather similar DPS. Left click is a little bit stronger. So when you have grouped up enemies, you can use that, or you can just right click beam them when they're far away, and they'll also die pretty quickly. When you get out of Archon and the cooldown is not ready yet, you have to be a little bit careful. So maybe you can use a Frost Nova, you can teleport around a bit, wait it out a few seconds, and then if you have gotten some kind of kills while in Archon, your cooldown should be almost up again from Messerschmitt's Reaver. So just be a little bit careful when that happens, but typically you should be fine as long as you move fast enough. And then the setup is rather working well. Just on the boss, you gotta be a bit careful, because if you happen to die on the boss, there's no message procs and the cooldown is bad, so you're gonna have to wait like a minute or so to get back into Archon, and this can be quite a struggle because not really doing damage outside of Archon. So make sure that you have enough kills towards the end, and then you can just kill the boss rather easily, and it should be fine. So just like on EU, the progress is also located towards the end. So we have a floor 3, which is pretty juicy. So we want to get there as fast as possible. So in the first map, you just go up to the top right and then bottom right. Then you have the script map, which you just want to skip as fast as possible. So you go down, down, down. There's one elite pack that you can grab next to the speed pylon, but you don't really have to. And then there's the floor 3, where you have a really nice plague tunnel map. You just go like basically up, and you go like a full circle around the map. It's like a circular layout, and then you should be able to spawn the boss there. So that's it for this week's challenge drift. Hope you liked my little walkthrough here, and I'll see you guys next time.